props are up, ghouls are flying through the air, HHN is upon us right here at Universal Studios, Florida, and we're here to check out all the updates. We're gonna do a circle around the park, basically checking out all the scare zones, see what kind of haunted house progress we can catch up on, and go from there. Guys, welcome back to another episode here on the channel. We're gonna get things started right here back at the north side of Universal Orlando. We've been doing a lot of Epic Universe content, but I'm excited to be back here at the original Universal theme park here in Orlando. So let's head on into the park now and get things started. First line of business though, we have to go into the park through the massive archway. When do you think the medallion for HHN will be put up? My prediction is going to be Monday, August 25th. That is right before team member previews begin and a few days before the actual event kicks off. That is my prediction. I don't know about you, but that's when I think it's going to go up. Here at the front, it does look like they have some speakers set up overnight. These were not here a few days ago. They're set up for the opening ceremony, which will commence right here at the front at the beginning of each night. We've made it into the park now, and what's cool is that all the props are up. This will be the Origins of Horror Scare Zone. I'm glad that they are doing something in the front once again, because they have not done something like this in quite some time. So it's cool that they're, doing something, utilizing the space. It used to be Production Central back then. They did stuff every year, but ever since Minion Land took over, they haven't really done much with the space. So I'm glad they're doing something like that. They're also utilizing the front to have where the marquee sign is. They've done that past few years. I don't know if this year they're gonna have characters on the top like they have done. It's kind of small, leaving more room for the scare zone, which I'm happy to hear and see. But we'll see if there's actually gonna be characters at the top. They haven't placed like a sort of ladder for the characters to climb to the top of it yet, so we'll see if they do anything there. We'll keep our eyes on it, but let's do a quick lap around the park, as I've already said we will be doing, to check out some more of these updates, starting things off here at the Origins of Horror. Let's go ahead and do that right now. It's your last week to ride Rocket, and it's only a 10-minute wait. Now it looks like they're gonna have some boo hole or a scare actor here to really get you going as you're walking down the street. And the first sign of food booths going up. This is right across from Music Plaza stage and the Minion Cafe. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of these going up in the coming weeks. Soon enough, this entire grass area is going to be filled with metal switchbacks, and then that right up there will be gone. So pretty exciting, a lot of cool and unique stuff happening here at the park. So we got a couple more food booths down over here, and then farther down that way, got a few more. Exciting stuff happening. Getting closer to the event.
I'm so excited for this year.
Now, if you remember last year, this was where the Ghostbusters food booth was, where you can get like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. So it's gonna be hard to top that. That was like one of my favorite treats from last year's event. So much exciting stuff happening here at the park. I can't wait to see what they do next, getting closer to the start in just a couple weeks. And then soon enough, this will be transformed into a bar. This usually is used as the extended queue to Transformers, but during Horror Nights, it is turned into a bar. So soon enough, that will take its shape. Now I ran into some issues where the camera kept overheating, so I had to change around some settings, but we're back and now heading into the New York Scare Zone, which I'm very excited about because they bring their A game year after year, and I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeve. This time around, this would be Mutations, Toxic 20s. Excited to see what they have going on here. It's been a bit since we've been to the park to really see all the set decorations, and this year, like no other, it's very spread out, very spacious. That's what I like about the New York Scare Zone. They can really do whatever they want because they have what feels like unlimited space to work with. So we're gonna go ahead and take a stroll down the street and see what they have going on this year. Now walking around, it's very cool to see BuzzCon written and making a presence in this year's event. Now, if you don't know what that is, that was the organization or company, for that matter, that was sort of the centerpiece for the Bugs Eaten Alive's haunted house a few years ago. Not a scare zone, it was a haunted house. And this year, making a presence in this scare zone, Mutations, right behind me, because in that haunted house, the centerpiece was basically that there was this new like household item to basically kill the bugs, and instead turned its house owners and like humans into massive man-eating bugs. And so it's kind of cool to see like, you know, a Mutations sort of scare zone with BuzzCon being the center of it all. So a cool little piece of Horror Night lore that I'm glad is making a comeback for this year's event. Sting Alley, my favorite quiet spot. At least it was till they started doing the dance break over there in New York. Guys, I quickly wanted to come over here to talk about some changes being made this year. Because two changes actually. Because first things, the Tribute Store getting a new location. The Tribute Store this year going into the Palace Arcade. If you don't know what that is, it is the big arcade right at the exit of Revenge of the Mummy and right next to Louis'. You can kind of access it from outside at the street. Usually they'll do it here in New York or over in Hollywood across from Bourne. So either of those locations I think work very well. I prefer the New York location, honestly. It's a lot bigger, you can do a lot more with it, and it works well with Halloween Horror Nights. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it getting a new location, basically being inside of what essentially is an arcade. So a much smaller space. You would think that they would at least be doing something with FNAF in that area, Five Nights at Freddy's, but they are not. So I'm the kind of person that holds judgment until after it's said and done. We'll see how it works out and if it's worth doing again next year. Just a little interesting. I don't know if they weren't selling enough merch or what, but kind of interesting that it's getting sort of a smaller budget this year. I still think it's going to be great and worth checking out, and a nice place to kind of chill in between haunted houses, especially if it's raining out like it always does during opening week of Horror Nights. So, I'll hold judgment until after we do it, but excited to see what they have up their sleeve. The sort of second change is Stay and Scream. Stay and Scream is no longer going to have the designated zones that you can wait in. Now you're going to get a wristband when you enter the park, and then at about like 4 o'clock you'll be able to line up for whatever house you want. You just show them your wristband and you'll be good to go. I think it's a good change. We'll see how it works out in the park's favor and if they want to keep it around for much longer, but it's an interesting thing and kind of similar to how Disney does their specially ticketed events. So we'll see if it works out. I'm excited to try it out. I'm gonna miss like the hype of staying in your designated zone for Stay and Scream, but if they want to try something new, I'm not gonna fault them for it. What works, and we'll see how it plays out for this year. Real quick, want to mention that this year, for the first year in as long as I've been going to the event, San Francisco is not getting a scare zone. I don't know what that's about. They're doing something here, probably some more food booths, but they have some arches that way, some truss structures to kind of have some external lighting. But other than that, they're not doing like an official scare zone here, which is different than the event this year. Only gonna have, is it 3 or 4? How many scare zones? Yeah, this year gonna have only 4 scare zones instead of 5 like they are used to having. So that's gonna really change up the event and be very different. But hey, if it works, it works. We'll see what comes of it. But San Francisco this year is gonna be a dead spot, I feel like, because there will not be any scare actors walking around. And maybe they'll do something small, maybe some chainsaws walking around, some people with chainsaws, but yeah, they're not really doing anything in San Francisco. Definitely a change from previous years. In other exciting news, it looks like Dead Theaters are going to be returning to Diagon Alley once again. Super cool, excited that they're back. One of my favorite things from the past few years, so I'm glad that they are doing that again. And over here we got Nightmare Fuel once again. Yeah, they're bringing it back. Would have liked them to do something a little different and unique, but still excited to see what they have up their sleeve for this year. Because what, this is like the 4th or 5th year they've done it. Just wish they would have done something a little different, but still glad that they're putting something in this space, not letting it go to waste. Food booths are up over here across from DreamWorks Land and The Simpsons, outside of the Animal Actors stage show. What kind of food do you think they're gonna have this year? I'm excited. Some Twisted Tater fans might predict that once again as like the primary food choice over here. But either way, I'm excited for all the food, all the Horror Night food making a return for this year's event. Now you want to know my favorite and most hyped scare zone of this year, and I really did not know how to think of it until now, just walking through it. It is the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. This scare zone occupying the Central Park area of the park. It has it all, very tight, claustrophobic feel, which might not be, you know, everybody's cup of tea, but I personally love it. It has like an interesting story. This scare zone, just like over the Mutation one in New York, this one also part of the Horror Night lore. It was a poster inside of the Slaughter Cinema House last year, so it's cool that they're taking an idea from then and bringing it and expanding on it to a whole scare zone and to really become its own thing here this year. So that's super cool. But just walking around, there's different posters that tell the story of Crooked Lane, and then at the end of the street is the Cat Lady's house. So definitely a lot of architecture and theming, taking inspiration from sort of like cat people, if you will. I'm sure that'll play a big part. That, I believe, is the idea that they're going with. There's balls of yarn everywhere, different just miscellaneous toys scattered around. It's a very cool, unique, original scare zone. Cat Lady from Crooked Lane, definitely up there with being my most anticipated scare zone of this year. You know, every year Horror Nights does do the thing with Mel's Drive-In where the sign turns in to spell out die-in. I think it's a really clever thing that they do every year. Well, this year they're expanding that idea. They're doing Mel's Die-In Zombies. This idea is something that I have hoped for years. I'm so glad they're doing something like this. All the zombies are going to be walking around, hopefully in the street. Hopefully it's not just going to be centralized to inside of the restaurant. So that's really cool. I hope that this is something that returns next year and years down the road if it's popular enough. And this could be a reason why they're only doing 4 scare zones and not 5. This is sort of the unofficial scare zone right here in the street outside of Mel's. So that's super cool, and I'm glad they're finally doing something like this right here in Hollywood. Well, Florida, but the Hollywood area of the park. Farther down now into Hollywood, the scare zone, Masquerade, Dance with Death. I don't really know how I feel about this scare zone. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Hollywood scare zone every year is sort of at the bottom of my list. I don't think, like, I'm glad we have something, you know, because if there was nothing there, it would be kind of a dead space. There's no like haunted houses down that street. So I think by having a scare zone there, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, it's really always just like sort of the space in between from like entering the park to going to the next haunted house. It's never been my favorite scare zone, and this year I will say it at the bottom of my list. Hopefully I can be proven wrong. We'll see once the event starts in a couple of weeks, but yeah, Masquerade, Dance with Death, right here in Hollywood. We'll see how it turns up and if it can really end up being one of my favorites this year, but I don't think so when you have like some of the other ones, some of the other top ones to compare it to. Inside the Five and Dime now, we got some Five Nights at Freddy's preview merch. This shirt right here, which just came out recently. Let's see how much it costs. $37. It does have a very nice high quality material to it though. You got some patches right here. $18. You got this shirt right here. $33. You also got some more preview merch on this side as well. This shirt, $35. This shirt, looking very cool. Glow in the dark, reactive. Of course, for males, Diane. This one, $33. Got some other males merch as well. A magnet, different pins and buttons. A snow globe, something I did not expect to see. Wall decoration, I don't know. Maybe a placemat, a plate mat. Some different decals. And then like a bag. The bag runs for $75. Well, that's our show, folks. Thanks for tuning in yet again for another Universal Update video. We had a lot of fun. This was mostly centered around showing off the different scare zones, all 4 of them, with a few more updates for HHN sprinkled in. Guys, Halloween Horror Nights is upon us, only about 2 weeks away from when I am filming this, and I cannot express how excited I am. We will be here opening night, and then also we did purchase the frequent fear pass, so we will be returning throughout the event. So I cannot wait. Halloween Horror Nights, my favorite time of the year, and yeah, so join us for the next episode here, and I will catch you in the next one, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one for another update video. See you at Halloween Horror Nights.